Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. It is the player ratings then. This will be an interesting one, won't it? Everton, I said that before as well. Newcastle 3, Everton 1. Sorry, I just don't want to read the scoreline out, so I'm trying to put Everton first to forget what an absolute shambles of a performance that actually was. Frank Lampard truly seeing the best and worst side of this Everton team within the space of a matter of days. The best being Saturday's performance against Brentford, which we all thought would give the team a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum, a lot of drive going into this game today. And then he saw the worst side of this Everton team as well in what was quite possibly the worst and certainly most disappointing performance of the season. An utterly abysmal defeat, an utterly abysmal performance, no desire, no fight, no commitment, and one team who really, really wanted to get the win and really, really wanted to get something out of the game, and another team that seemingly didn't. And considering this was a must not lose for both teams really, and some would even argue a must win, to think that this Newcastle team showed up and just completely outfought Everton, outbattled Everton. There was more desire, there was more commitment, there was more of a plan. It's really, really disappointing and upsetting, especially considering the situation that we're now in. Now, Newcastle are now only a point behind Everton. Now, this is a team that we all sat here, specifically me. I sat here and said a couple of months ago that Newcastle will go down and that will be it. I said that they were pretty much nailed on. Now, okay, they've signed a couple of players and they've had a new owner and there's been a boost in confidence since then, but to say that they're now only a point above Everton, to say Everton have only taken 6 points from a possible 40 is just absolutely abysmal. And as I said, Frank Lampard has truly saw the both sides of Everton Football Club over the last couple of days or so, and unfortunately I don't know if we get out of this situation, if I'm being honest with you. I don't. I was very, very happy on Saturday night. I took a lot of confidence from that result and that performance, and I sat here and spoke about how if Everton can perform like that today, then I think we'll get the win. And what Everton actually did is performed exactly like we did for the majority of the time under Rafael Benitez. And that really, really worries me that this group of players have still got that type of performance in them. I just don't think most of them are good enough, really. Let's start then with Jordan Pickford. I'm going to give Jordan a 5 today. Don't think he done an awful lot wrong, to be honest with you, from my recollection. In terms of the goals that Newcastle scored, I don't think he was at fault for any of them. First one was an own goal and was unlucky. Could he have been a little bit more commanding off his line? Maybe. Second, again, was just dreadful defensively. I don't particularly think Jordan was particularly at fault for it. And the third goal, again, was maybe could have stepped to his right a little bit and covered that front post. A lot of people will criticise Jordan Pickford for that because he was beaten at that post, and especially considering, he set the wall up. And, that probably is a fair criticism. He probably should have done better in that situation. But other than that, he done okay. His kicking was awful. His kicking was poor today. It really, really was. I don't think he quite felt the pressure from the Newcastle fans because he's been in this situation on a number of occasions. He's played well at Newcastle and he's been able to soak that pressure up. And notoriously over the years, we're talking about a goalkeeper who's played in European Championship finals and saved, important penalties in those situations as well. So I don't particularly think he feels the pressure an awful lot. But I think he wasn't his usual self today. He wasn't his usual self, and that's why he gets an average 5. Left wing back then, Anzos Townsend. Anzos is getting a 2 today. Thought he was really, really poor. Really, really poor. The effort was there at times. I think he gave everything he could give. I think he tried to create. I think he tried to get forward. I think he tried to do his defensive work as well. But in reality, he wasn't very good, was he? He wasn't very good, let's be honest. He didn't offer anything going forward. Every ball that he put into the box was either overhit or underhit, or he put out for a goal kick. As I said, he wasn't particularly great defensively. And some people would say, well, that's fair enough because he's not a defender, Cam, he's a winger. But if that's what your job is, if that's what your position is, if that's the role you've been given by the manager, then you've got to be better than that. And I wouldn't mind if going forward he was absolutely fantastic and he was creating chances and he was scoring goals or getting assists, but he wasn't. And I know it might seem a bit harsh, and I know he come on the other day and he scored, but for me that's another Anzos Townsend performance where he just hasn't been good enough. he just hasn't been good enough, and I don't think he wants starting for Everton. Yes, he scored the other day and he come on and he done well, but ultimately it wasn't good enough today, and it hasn't been good enough by Anders Townsend for a while, which is mad considering I think he's our leading goal scorer this season. But that was a poor performance by Anders. So he's getting a 3 today. Did he give him a 3? Yeah, he can get a 3. Mason Holgate is getting a 1. Just abysmal. Utterly abysmal. Defensively, I mean, we saw again, Frank Lampard has saw both sides of Mason Holgate over the last couple of days, so we saw the best he can bring, which was against Brentford, taking away his goal, because obviously that's not his job, and it was a good goal and he done well, but that's not his job. Defensively, he was okay. He took a couple of risks and he got away with them. As I said in the instant match reaction to the Brentford game, had they have been against better players, more clinical players, I don't think he'd have got away with them, but he did. So when we could only judge on what we were watching, I thought he was confident, I thought he looked solid, he looked okay, and that was, I think, the best you will get from Mason Holgate, an okay, solid performance. He'll never be amazing, he'll never be unbelievable, you'll never watch him and go, he was absolutely outstanding today. You'll just watch him and go, yeah, he done alright, solid today. But unfortunately, the worst you'll get from him is something as to what we saw today. Positionally abysmal, all over the place, giving away stupid, corners. Again, their goal led from Mason Holgate giving the ball away. Scored an own goal, of course. Yes, he had his part to play in our goal, but he had a shot from 5 yards out, which he missed, and it luckily enough bounced off the defender and went in. But for their goal, he gave the corner away straight away through stupid play, and then obviously he was caught on the goal line. I'm not going to blame him too much for the goal because it was unlucky, but it should never have been in that situation anyway. These are professional footballers. Rule 1 of football, the first thing you learn as a kid growing up playing football is that you are most susceptible to conceding right after you've scored. So don't make it tight, make sure you're tight, make sure you're compact, don't give anything stupid away, and keep everything sort of as narrow and as compact as possible. In the 5-10 minutes after you've scored, what do? We literally concede the pretty much the exact same goal as to what we've scored, other than it being a header off the bar. Our goal was a shot off the line cleared, but everything else was pretty much carbon copy. A minute later, Holgate had a shot off the line and it deflected off of Lascelles and went in, and up the other end, a minute later, Lascelles had an header off the bar and it deflected off Holgate and went in. Proper fucking Everton, isn't it? Proper Everton, but I thought Mason today was all over the place. Defensively, I thought he was poor. Positionally, I thought he was poor. On the ball, I thought he was poor. I just thought he was shite. Michael Keane, he's getting a 1 as well. I'm running out of patience with Michael Keane, if I'm being honest with you. We can't keep this whole he's decent when he plays next to Yerry Mina nonsense going. He's 28 years old now. He's been at the football club for 4 or 5 years. He should be an established centre-half. He should be able to play on his own. He should be the leader. He should be the player that we're looking at thinking, well, Mason will do better because he's next to Michael Keane, or Ben Godfrey will perform better because he's next to Michael Keane. It shouldn't be we're looking at it going, well, who's going to be next to Mike? Is it going to be Mina next to Keane? Because if it's not, then we know how bad Michael Keane can be. Get rid in the summer. We're wasting time with him. Get rid in the summer. He's not good enough. He's not confident enough. He's not a leader. He doesn't take responsibility. Move him on in the summer. He isn't good enough for this football club. The reality of it is that, again, Saturday you saw the best of him, which was a decent performance. But, yeah. He isn't good enough, so he's getting a 1. Seamus Coleman is getting a 1 as well. I said it in the instant match reaction, and I'll say it again. I love Seamus. He's great, and I'm very grateful for the time that he's given to Everton and the fact that he's dedicated pretty much his entire career to Everton Football Club. But at this point, in this situation, with the position that we're in, sentiment doesn't come into it. Sentiment just truly doesn't come into it at all. He ultimately shouldn't be playing for Everton now. We've just signed a right back in the summer, and we can sit here all we in January, and we can sit here all we like and say, oh yeah, but he mightn't be Premier League quality yet, or he mightn't be fit, or this, that, and the other. He can't do any worse than what Seamus Coleman is doing at the moment. Again, Saturday, really good performance. The question was he going to be able to do that 2 games on a run? And the answer was no, he wasn't. He's been poor for a while now, Seamus, and again today, positional wise, defensively, he was everywhere. Didn't really do anything going forward either. Didn't really give anything going forward. His crosses into the box were poor. just not very good. So he's getting a 1. And then Yerry Mina, Yerry can get a 4, I suppose. Obviously, he went off injured for the time that he was on the pitch. I thought he'd done okay. Shepherded the ball out of play a couple of times in dangerous areas when we needed them to. But ultimately, the biggest issue with Yerry Mina is that he simply isn't reliable enough. And that is devastating, considering he's our best centre-half, and B, our only real consistent, decent centre-half. It's not like the others are all right and we'll get by with the others, but we're much better with Yerry Mina, but we'll get by with the others. The others are abysmal. With the exception of Ben Godfrey, who's also out now with a hamstring injury, the others are just abysmal footballers, absolutely abysmal defenders. And that means that you can't afford to have an unreliable Yerry Mina. You can't afford to have a Yerry Mina who you're not going to get 3 consistent games out of without an injury, because we just can't afford that. We can't afford that. And unfortunately, that's what we've got at the moment with Yerry Mina. As I said, whilst he was on the pitch, he was good. But a serious decision needs to be made about his future, because how long can we keep doing this? How long can we keep relying on a player that is completely unreliable? It's the midfield. Andre Gomez is getting a 2. Not very good, was he? Let's be honest. Again, it was always going to be a massive task for Andre Gomez to replicate in any sort of sense the performance that he put in against Brentford at the weekend. He was fantastic. He dealt with the ball really, really well. He brought it down, and his footwork a couple of times today was good as well. Again, on the ball, as I've said before, you will very rarely watch an Andre Gomez performance and look at every time he's got the ball at his feet and be able to say, oh, he was poor today. Because on the ball, with the ball at his feet, he generally does very well. He's a good footballer. He can move the ball well. He can use his feet well. But off the ball, he might just be the worst Premier League footballer I've ever witnessed. He is useless off the ball. Defensively, he's atrocious. He doesn't get to players quick enough. He doesn't sack players down. He doesn't make challenges in the middle of the park. And when you're coming up against a Newcastle team that desperately wanted to win and knew that they desperately needed to win, and you've got a player on the field who you're effectively carrying out of possession, that was never going to work. And the only way Andre Gomez was going to work today was if we had the ball, if we had possession, if we had the majority of the ball, and we were able to move it round. And again, I'm not blaming Frank Lampard, because we have no options. Decore's injured, Delph's a fucking waste of space, Davis is out injured, Van der Beek obviously wasn't ready, and to be fair, when he come on, he didn't really do much. So I don't particularly blame the manager for playing Andre Gomez, but this is the situation that we're in now. We can't blame Lampard, because these are the players he's got at his disposal, and these players aren't very good. I hear people all the time, Everton are dead good. Are we underachieving? Yes, we are. But this squad is nowhere near as good as what some people think it is, and these players are nowhere near as good as what some people think they are. They're fucking shite. Alan, he can get a 4. I think he ran round a little bit more than what Andre Gomez did. I think he tried his best. I think he tried to, he tried to get us playing. He tried to move us forward. He tried to create chances. There was a couple of times when he gave fouls away, one in a really shitty area, which led to Kieran Trippier's 3rd goal. Again, sliding in unnecessarily, but then again, Newcastle were on the attack and looked like creating a chance. But, in those positions, I don't know how many times over the years I've had to say, stop giving away stupid free kicks. Stop giving away free kicks on the edge of the box. Stop giving away free kicks where the opposition team have got a chance to score. The opposition team have got a chance to kill the game off, especially when you've got a free kick taker on the opposition team like Kieran Trippier, who has done that all throughout his career. So yeah, again, I think he worked hard. I think he moved around the pitch. I think he battled, but again, I think his lack of intensity, his lack of pace, his lack of being able to put that level that he put it on Saturday in 2 games on the bounce showed. And yeah, passing wise, by the way, every one of them today was fucking abysmal passing wise. Oh, Gomez's passing was fucking awful today. Awful. Alan's passing wasn't much better. The back 4 couldn't pass a fucking fart. Never mind a fucking football. Just dreadful. utterly dreadful. And then onto the forward line, Damari Gray obviously went off injured as well, which is a disappointing. Like Wick says, fatigue played the part tonight. Newcastle had 3 weeks rest, but we'd just come off the back of a 4-1 win, a win that had done us an awful lot, a win that, you know, it should have given us a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum. I don't think fatigue does come into play. I don't think it does. And if there was players that were fatigued there, then they shouldn't have been playing. There was other players, Calvert-Lewin, Awobi, El Ghazi, you know, players that could have come on and played in place of those players that have got fatigue. It's not fatigue. It's they couldn't be asked working hard. They didn't want to work hard. They didn't want it as much as Newcastle wanted it. And they're not very good. Most of them aren't very good. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion, I suppose. Yeah. Good Gray. Come on. Obviously started the game. Didn't last very long. Looked off, to be honest. I'm going to give him a 4. Looked off from the start. He was trying to make things happen. He was trying to make the right runs. He was trying to get in the good areas. He was trying to move the ball forward. He was desperately trying to make something happen. But he just didn't look particularly good today, did he? It has to be said. Went off with an injury. Looked like he was struggling from the start. And all as we can do now, as with Yerry Mina, is hope that this isn't an injury that's going to keep him out for any longer than the next couple of days, really, because we simply can't afford to go into the next few games without Damari Gray. We can't. And, yeah, you know, again, I don't know what the extent of the injury is. I'm sure we'll hear later on tonight, maybe tomorrow. But hopefully it's nothing too serious. But yeah, you can get a 4. Wasn't great even when he was on the pitch, but went off very early on, of course. Richarlison, I'm gonna give him a 5. Worked hard, ran round, tried to make things happen, tried to create chances. His movement was poor in the second half. I'll give you that. His movement was poor in the second half. You know, he ultimately just didn't look like he could, you know, get around as much as what we would have liked him to. But, you know, he was trying to get in the right areas. He was making the, you know, good runs at times. It was just the fact that nobody was there to ultimately to give him that output, to give him that outball, to give him that cross into the box, to give him that chance to score. There was just nothing there for him, wasn't he? There was absolutely nothing there for him. But yeah, I thought he worked. I thought he'd done okay, worked hard, so he can get a 5. And then Anthony Gordon, he's going to get a 6.5. I think he was the best of a bad bunch, if I'm being honest with you. First half, he was by far the best player in an Everton shirt. In fact, he was the only one really pressing and really chasing down, and there was a couple of opportunities where he nicked the ball off Newcastle players in really dangerous areas when there was nobody else actually doing the running, doing the work, doing the pressing. And if it wasn't for Anthony Gordon, you know, Newcastle would have created a significantly more amount of chances in that first half. Second half, it did die down a little bit. It almost felt like he was thinking, well, fucking hell, I'm doing this on my own here. Why is nobody else doing it? But again, the game just pitted out, and we were just there taking part, really, weren't we? Newcastle were trying to desperately win the game and score another goal and build their confidence, and we were just there to act again like the fucking entertainment for the night. But again, I thought he was definitely the standout. He wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but he was definitely the standout in an Everton shirt. Substitutes then, Jared Branthwaite. I give Jared Branthwaite I don't know. Give him a 4. Didn't look particularly confident, did he? Again, I'm not going to sit here and go too much into him because he's a young lad and he was coming on in a difficult situation, and he was having to replace Yerry Mina, who we know is so important and so vital to this Everton side. So I'm not going to sit here and give him a load of stick. I'm not going to sit here and have a go at him. But he wasn't particularly great. There was a couple of bits of defending that he looked shaky, a couple of bits, you know, passing. There was one where Pickford lashed it up into the air, which was awful, but lashed it up into the air, and instead of just taking it down or using his body to shield it, he tried to sort of flick it round him and just volleyed it out for the corner, which was really, really poor. Dele Alli, or Dele, should we say, sorry. I'll give him a 5. Again, difficult debut. To have really difficult circumstance, but I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up his arse. He didn't do anything. He wasn't very good. You know, there was moments where you're looking and you're thinking, oh, you can see there's a little bit of quality there, or you can see what he's trying to do, but overall there was no out ball. He was at fault for ultimately the second goal, Newcastle's second goal. He lost the ball and then didn't sack his man. which isn't acceptable. I don't care if it's your debut or if you've been here 10 years. That's not acceptable. And I actually think that's one decision Frank Lampard got wrong today. I think the Dele Alli substitution was baffling for me. It should never have been Dele Alli to come on for Demarai Gray. He's not a winger. He's not particularly quick. He's not going to run up players. He's a midfielder. He's not a wide player. So to bring him on for a wide player, and especially a wide player in Anthony Gordon, who likes to, Demarai Gray, who likes to drive and likes to create and likes to, give the defenders something to think about, and to replace that with Dele Alli, who technically is a good footballer and can get at defenders, but isn't going to do it in the same way to Anthony Gordon, especially when you've got Anwar El Ghazi on the bench who could have come on and ran at them. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin who could have come on, and then you move Richarlison over to the wing. I think the Dele Alli substitution was very much, let's give Dele his debut because everybody wants to see him, when in reality, when you actually think about it, it didn't make much sense for me. And then Donny van de Beek, he can get a 5 as well. Again, difficult circumstances, couple of good touches, couple of good passes, but never really had an impact on the game. But again, probably not his fault. It was a difficult situation to come into. And yeah, there you go. Everton have lost another game of football. Another away game. Another game, by the way, against a team that are in and around us, in and around the same areas as us in the Premier League, in and around this relegation battle. Another game that we've lost in that circumstance. Where do we go from here? Genuinely, where do we go from here? Because I don't know. As I said, Frank Lampard has now got an absolutely... Well, he had a monumental task on his hand anyway, but the task has now been shown to him first and how big this is. If he didn't realise how big this task was when he first come to the club, he now definitely does. And yeah, we as I said before, we've seen the best and worst of this Everton team within a matter of days. And, for Frank, he's got to get that best or somewhere close to that best out of this team in over half of the remaining games of the season if we've got any chance of staying up, especially when the teams around us and in the similar sorts of areas are winning games and are building confidence and are doing it well. Again, this, we're too good to go down, we won't go down. Nonsense is exactly that. It's nonsense. If there was one team that went down, I'd say, okay, Watford are probably worse than us, Burnley, okay, 3 teams go down. The teams in and around us who were in that situation, Norwich beating us, Newcastle beating us, Watford beating us. All of those 3 teams showed more fight, showed more desire, showed more commitment, wanted it more than we did. And yes, we've got a new manager, and yes, it's a new beginning, but one of those teams was tonight under the new manager with the same group of players. Yeah, there you go. Likewise, says, would you have put Iwobi on? I'd have rather have put Iwobi on in that position than Dele Alli, to be honest with you, because he's more suited. He's more of a like-for-like replacement than Demarai Gray. Not saying he's better than Dele Alli, not saying Dele shouldn't have come on at all, but I'm saying that substitution for me didn't make sense. Some people will disagree, but for me, it just didn't make sense. I said it at the time, it's great to see Dele Alli coming on making his debut, but he's not Demarai Gray type of player, so why is he replacing Demarai Gray? Carrie says, if we've only won 2 games in the last 18, how are we going to win 7 in 17? Has Lampard got the tools to improve this much? Spot on. Hernandez says, follow Cam on Twitter at MightyBluesYT. Thank you very much, mate. If you could do that, would be great. Be waiting a while, says Wormy. Phil says, watch Arsenal versus Spurs from earlier this season. Ali can't play in midfield without lots of cover, says Phil. Burnley looks solid tonight. Weghorst is a massive improvement over Wood, says Phil. Yeah, got a point against Man United, which is another really bad result for Everton. We needed Man United to win that one. So many players that need to be gone in the summer, says Wick. Yeah, absolutely. Everton Azul says Richarlison should never take free kicks. Gordon's the only player who wants to drive. The rest become passengers once Gray left. Can't disagree with that, my mate. Everton were missing Leighton Baines. He needs to come out of retirement, says Eugene. Fucking hell, and Ashley Cole. Fucking hell. And David Weir at Brighton. Go and get him back as well. Jesus. Dele Alli fits in perfect. Shake my head. Another half-ass player, just what the team needed. Well, again, I'm not going to judge him off of one performance, but we needed more tonight. We did need more tonight. I think Everton needs to get rid of some of the deadwood. Richarlison in Gray's position in DCL up front. That's what I'd have gone with, personally. Blue Nose Dublin says, Bowden would have beat us tonight. Awful. More injuries, reckon, tonight had an impact on tactics. I agree. I do think the injuries had an impact on tactics. I think the dreadful referee as well. How John Joe Shelby doesn't get sent off is beyond me. It's the most blatant red card you'll see all season. But that wasn't the reason we lost the game. We lost the game because we weren't very good, didn't we? Cam, there might be 3 worst teams in the league, but there's definitely not none with an attitude or spine. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, anyway, look, we are going to finish it up there then. If you have enjoyed it somehow, then please hit that like button. The instant match reaction is up on the channel now, so if you want to check that out, then please do so. Remy says, why do we even bother changing managers? Rafa played Gomez, Alan, and we lost the core. Alan Gomez, we've lost. Frank comes in, plays Alan Gomez, we lose. Can somebody please pay me 10 million to play Alan and Gomez and lose? Yeah, I get it. You know, look, he hasn't got many other options, the manager, has he? In fact, I'd be inclined to suggest now we just fuck the midfield off, but then that would rely on playing a defence and an attack, and the defence is shite as well. So, yeah, there you go. Blue Cali says just join. Sorry, mate. Yeah, we are gonna leave it there. Then, if you have enjoyed it, please hit that like button. It only takes a second if you're new. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the instant match reaction if you haven't already. It would mean a massive amount to me. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow live with the game review. So don't forget to join us for that one. But it's another defeat. It's another disappointing performance. And it's another result that will leave us all scratching our heads tonight thinking, where do we go from here? And the importance now on Saturday is monumental. Saturday is now an absolute must win game. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how many games we've got left in the season. I don't care how many points there is still left to play. Saturday is an absolute must win. And yeah, am I confident we will win? Absolutely not. But we'll wait and see. There you go then. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Check out the instant match reaction if you haven't already. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed and forget about Everton for at least the next 8 hours. Hopefully I don't have a dream about Everton. That'd be a fucking nightmare, wouldn't it? Literally a nightmare. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.